Hi guys, I'm Clinton, and in this episode, we're going to be talking about tattoos. So, tattoos have been the burning desire for most 20 somethings. However, it seems like everyone these days wants a tattoo. It's an avenue for self expression, but what does the Bible say about tattoos? So, when we think of the Bible, we tend to think of it from only a spiritual standpoint. However, the Bible is much more than that. And if we only focus on the spiritual, we're going to tend to miss things. For instance, so if you tell people that you want a tattoo, most Christians are probably going to give you this. They're going to say that the body is God's temple and you wouldn't want to put graffiti on a temple, would you? Or they may go even further to say that the Bible states specifically that you should not get one. And you ask, where does it say that? And they'll tell you between Genesis and Revelations. So it actually does say that, right? Quite specifically in the Bible. In Leviticus 19:28, it says you must not make any cuts in your body for the dead or put tattoo marks on yourself. I am the Lord. So there you have it, right? It should be case closed. It's there in black and white. However, let me ask you something. Do you eat seafood? How about shellfish? Lobster? Prawn? How about crab? The majority of people, unless you're allergic to shellfish, love it, okay? Including myself. I mean, we grew up with these dishes. However, are you aware that in the same book that tells you not to get tattoos, it also tells you not to eat shellfish? And you can find this in Leviticus chapter 11, 9 to 12. So it says, of all the creatures living in the water of the seas and the streams, you may eat any that have fins and scales. But all creatures in the seas or streams that do not have fins and scales, whether among all the swarming things or among all the other living creatures in the water, you are to detest. And since you are to detest them, you must not eat their meat, and you must detest their carcasses. Anything living in the water that does not have fins and scales is to be detestable to you. So it seems strange, right? Why would God not allow us to eat these things? And the irony in it is that they are the tastiest of the lot. So here's the thing. God designed a self-regulating system, right? Each creature is designed with a specific purpose, right? And they maintain balance in the system. Now, shellfish are the cleanup crew. They are like the garbage men. They are basically the roaches of the ocean. For instance, did you know that if you wanted to test the mercury levels in the water, you would actually use the shellfish to do so. So you run a test on the flesh of the shellfish, and from there you determine the toxins in the water. Now, a good book to read on this is The Maker's Diet, right? He mentions a lot of stuff about this, including pork, which I'm not going to get into. You should read the book. It's a good book. So think about it this way. Leviticus was written over 1,000 years ago, well before we had all these modern tests, right? So this information had to come from God. Now, God is practical. He built a system. He knows how it works, right? He banned shellfish because he knew that it's not good for us. It wasn't because he wanted to be difficult with us or he wanted to spoil our fun. So consider this. Doctors in the late 1800s, they didn't even believe in washing their hands. And because of this, there were a lot of deaths during childbirth, right? I'll put a link regarding this issue. Now that was like less than 200 years ago. So can you imagine for tattoos like in the days of Leviticus, how much of diseases were being spread at the time? And also we don't know how it tied into the rituals of the time with the neighboring nations. Okay, so for me, I believe that the issue of tattoos is more of a health issue in the same way that God banned shellfish. And it's not a spiritual issue. Okay, so let's talk about the graffiti argument. If you're going to say that the body is God's temple, which it is, right, and you wouldn't put graffiti on the temple, then surely you wouldn't put junk in it, would you? By that logic, you shouldn't be eating junk food either, right? So if you're going to use that argument, I mean, you're going to have to be something else, like clean living, built like a rock. I'm talking six pack and the works, and not even six pack. Even those two bonus ones, 7 and 8. You need to have one hell of a body if you're going to make that argument. Now, I'm only teasing. Listen, I know what you're thinking. You're saying, Clinton, the reason why you are siding with them is because you have a tattoo. And the answer is no, I don't. I know how I am. I know better. I have Facebook memories that I regret posting. So, a tattoo will not be for me. A tattoo is too permanent. Now, and that's the case with most of us, right? Because see, the thing is, so as people, we are growing, right? And a tattoo is too permanent now. Like a Facebook memory, at least that you can delete. A tattoo is gonna be there to remind you of how you were back then. So, like for instance, if I got a tattoo at 18, I might have put Lincoln Park or something like that, and honestly, I know I would have regretted it. And I'm also the type of person where, and you're probably the same, where I get an idea in my head and I really, really want it, and then once I, like for instance, a gadget, and then once I get it, the novelty wears off really quickly. So if you are like me, a tattoo may not be for you. It's simply too permanent, and you're going to look back on it and regret it. Okay, so let's talk parents. When you tell your parent that you want to get a tattoo, they generally freak out, right? And they tell you can't, and you ask why. They say because the Bible says so. Now, we've already covered what the Bible says, right? I've said that I believe it's a health issue, okay? However, let's look at it from your parents' perspective. How do they feel about it, right? So, as a parent, right, I know that my child, like everyone else's, is going to experience discrimination in some way, shape, or form, right? People will find a way to discriminate against you, right? It'll be based on where you're from, your gender, your color, your level of education, how you speak. Like whatever the case is, they would find. The funny thing about humans is we will find a way to discriminate against each other, right? It's just how it is. And most of these things you really can't do anything about. However, your parents really wish that you would not add to that list of things that people could discriminate you against. And the reason for this is simply because they want the best for you. They want you to have every opportunity available to you, right? So it's not that they're just trying to get in the way of your fun. Okay, so let's be honest. So tattoos were viewed negatively in the past, and they are still viewed that way by many people. However, the perception is changing. It's seen more as an avenue for self-expression rather than an indicator of unruliness. However, if you are going to get a tattoo, you have to take the good with the bad, right? You can't get a tattoo and then complain that people are judging you. You're an adult. You have to take it in your stride. You can't be whining about it. Yes, I know that people cannot and should not be judging you, but guess what? That is what people do. So we live in an incredibly complex world, and we have to make decisions based on incomplete information all the time. So a person's going to make a snap judgment. They're going to look at you, and that tattoo may be a poor reflection on you. Now, the question is, are you willing to sacrifice an opportunity for a little ink on your skin? That is entirely up to you. That's your decision to make, right? And you have to own that decision. Now, yes, we can complain about that it's not fair. Such is life. There's nothing you can do about how other people see things. So if you get a tattoo, you have to own it. If you're going to pull your face about it, maybe you shouldn't be getting one then. So that is my opinion on tattoos. Ultimately, it's your decision. Just don't rush into anything. I hope this helps. I know this is a controversial topic, so you can feel free to share your experiences in the comments, right? Until next time.